There's something really fishy going on. There's a narrative shift that's happening, and it's right in front of our faces, and I just don't like it. Something stinks. President Trump did not get along with Governor Trudeau or the Liberals for a very, very long time. That was very apparent. And now Canada's illegitimate Prime Minister comes out yesterday saying, we're cutting all ties with America. It's the end of an era. Our relationship with the United States, as you have known it, is ending right now. That same man just had a phone call with the president minutes ago. And you would think that it would just blow up in his face and he would call him Governor Carney or something like that. No, apparently it was a very good phone call. They see eye to eye on many, many things. So that brings us back to the conversation that was, or the comments that was made by Trump not too long ago, where he said that he doesn't care for Pierre Poilievre and he would rather the Liberals win because they're easier to control, easier to manipulate. And we're seeing that happen right now in front of our eyes. This is not good. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. And if you visit the link down below in the description or the pinned comment below, you will be brought to an amazing merch website where you can get yourself some election merch. You got Canada First right here. Awesome embroidered hats. They are flying off the shelves. You also have lawn signs. These are almost sold out, folks, so get them before they're completely sold out. And then you've got stickers. Of course, these are incredibly selling out as well. And if you use code SAVECANADA, you get yourself 20% off. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Starting off with something else that really stinks. The polls. I don't particularly want to encourage anyone to look at the polls, but we're just going to look at it right now because something, again, is very fishy. Like, this stinks. Pierre Poilievre was at projected like 226 seats 4 or 5 months ago. And now they're saying that the Liberals are going to win a majority government with 187 seats. And Pierre's all the way down to 127 seats. Like, Jagmeet down to 5. And they're saying that the entire country, minus Alberta, Saskatchewan, and barely Manitoba, those are the only conservative provinces. Something doesn't seem right. They're saying 99% likely for the Liberals to win the most seats and 85% likely for the Liberals to have a majority government. Folks, I'm not showing you this to demoralize you or to piss you off. I'm showing you that because the polls now don't matter. Don't look at the polls. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is going out and voting. Getting all your friends and family to go out and vote. That's the only thing that matters. And so, call me out if I show you the polls again, but this point moving forward, I don't want to look at the polls. I don't want to show anyone the polls because that doesn't matter. What does matter is this maniac who's our illegitimate prime minister who had this to say yesterday. You might have already seen this, but we're just going to replay it.
Today, my cabinet colleagues and I met to discuss Canada's response to the latest developments in the trade crisis. Yesterday, in the latest salvo in his trade war, President Trump again imposed unjustified tariffs on our nation in violation of our existing trade agreements. We will respond forcefully. Nothing is off the table to defend our workers and our country. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight the U.S. tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of our own that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impacts here in Canada. The road ahead will be long. There is no silver bullet. There is no quick fix. And I know and I understand that many are feeling anxious and worried about the future. Fundamental change is always unsettling. But I have every confidence in our country because I understand what President Trump does not. That we love Canada with every fiber of our being. The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over.
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So there you go. Our relationship with America as we know it is over. That's what our illegitimate prime minister had to say. Now let's take a look at what our hopefully next real elected prime minister, Pierre Poilievre, had to say about the matter yesterday.
My message to President Trump is knock it off. Stop attacking America's friends. Start trading so that we can once again become richer, stronger, and more secure on both sides of the border. That is how we will have the money for stronger military and stronger borders to secure our continent against real threats and real enemies. We will never be the 51st state, but we can once again be friends with the United States if the president reverses course on these disastrous tariff threats.
I want to ask about some conservatives who are upset in this election. This is my 7th campaign. I've never had so many calls from grassroots conservatives upset that head office is choosing the candidates. In St. John, the president of the EDA quit. In Penticton, just a couple of days ago, 4 candidates running. No, head office says it's going to be this person. They say frustrated beyond belief. In Richmond, you could have had Kenny Chu or Wai Young. Nope, head office appointed somebody else. And then there's Mike DeYoung in Abbotsford. People are scratching their heads. Ian Black sat beside Mike in Gordon Campbell's cabinet, but Mike didn't make the cut. So the question is, why, on behalf of conservative grassroots members, why can't conservative grassroots choose their own candidate? And what was so defective about Mike DeYoung?
Thanks very much, David. And I know that you've always been such a great champion of grassroots conservatives. So thank you for claiming to be their spokesman. Listen, the reality is that conservatives are going to have solid candidates right across the country who are going to put Canada first. We're going to put Canada first by bringing home our jobs, axing taxes, building homes, and breaking the dependence that the Liberals have forced on Canada relative to the United States of America. We will have strong candidates who are small business people, doctors, local philanthropic champions, and other people who are legends in the communities that they represent. They will be strong. They will be standing up for the workers and the people in this country who've been left behind after the lost Liberal decade. And you know, the question that they will be asking on the doorstep, David, is whether after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, and with our economy down under the American thumb, do the Liberals deserve a 4th term in power? Or is it time to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will make our country strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet and stand up to the Americans? Thank you very much.
Thank you. This concludes the event today.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
And now we have to look at the breaking news that happened moments ago. What Donald Trump said about the phone call with Mark Carney. Well, let's take a look.
Carney have had their phone call. Trump sharing on Truth Social. It was a productive call, and they agreed on many things. He says he will meet with the Prime Minister immediately after the upcoming election, set for April 28th. Of course, who that meeting is with will depend on who wins the election. And CTV's Judy Trin has been following Carney on the campaign trail, and she joins me now from Montreal, where Carney is. And Judy, we've heard a little bit more about the phone call. Any other details emerging?
Well, Roger, we are expecting to get more details from the Prime Minister's office. They are going to provide a readout of the call. We have also asked the White House for their version of the readout, so we'll be able to compare notes in that way. What I can tell you right now in terms of this post on Truth Social that Donald Trump made, he's called it a productive call between...
I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. It was an extremely productive call. We agree on many things, and we'll be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election to work on elements of politics and business and all other factors that will end up being great for both the United States of America and Canada. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That is extremely different than what we have been seeing. I mean, even from what illegitimate Prime Minister Carney said yesterday, how all ties with America are over. Relationship with the United States is over as we know it, to now the president saying this. He didn't call him governor. He didn't make fun of the Liberals. In fact, he said, I look forward to meeting with you after the election. And we'll be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election. He didn't say with the winner. He said with you. I mean, that's just crazy.
He and Prime Minister Mark Carney, he said they will be meeting immediately or after Canada's upcoming election to work on elements of politics, business, and all other factors. That is, if on Truth Social, something that we have not heard from Donald Trump recently. Just yesterday, he posted about how he is angry that Canada was considering joining forces with the European Union to work against countering the trade war that the U.S. has levied, the 25% tariffs. And he said if that on that post, Trump threatened that if Canada and the EU were to work together, they would face tariffs that are much greater than anything that they've seen. So this is a conciliatory tone. We are waiting to see what was discussed. We do know, Roger, that this call between the PM and the president took more than 2 weeks. We know that the U.S. Canada's ambassador to the U.S., Kristen Hillman, as well as the PMO, had wanted to make a call, arrange a call earlier, but that did not happen. And then this reach out by the White House happened after Donald Trump dropped 25% tariffs against foreign autos. So after he made the decision, then the White House reached out. So that is the timeline. We also know that the Prime Minister, after this call, is heading into a meeting with all of Canada's premiers. He is chairing the first ministers' meeting, and that is scheduled for 11:30, so just a few minutes from now.
So
Okay, so we're going to have more on that later today as we find out about this unraveling situation. But I want to know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about Trump almost endorsing Carney? Like, you're seeing two sides of Mark Carney. To us, to Canadians, he's saying we're done with America. And then he goes running to the president with his tail between his legs. I don't like it. It stinks, and it needs to stop immediately.